Hi there, this is Paula Bettenker, and as an interior designer and a Kundalini yoga teacher whose main purpose is to design sacred spaces, there's a few questions and a few comments I often receive from people in regards to what they think it means to have a sacred space. So today in this video, I wanted to share with you what it is to have a sacred space and also a very valuable technique and tools that you can use yourself at home to enhance the feeling of your room, raise the vibration of your space, and bring more balance and harmony to your home. So the first thing I often hear people say about what it means to have a sacred space is, one, they think that it's a space meant to be for yoga or meditation. The other thing I often hear is that they think it's about religion or about their spiritual beliefs. And then the third comment I often get is people think they need to spend a lot of money on items that are high-end to make it look like a Zen garden or a temple of some sort. And all of those things are just myths. What it is to have a sacred space is actually creating a space that has harmony and balance in it that makes you feel really good. A sacred space is a space where you feel very welcomed. It's a space where you feel like you don't want to leave. It's a space where you feel recharged, where you feel focused, and where you really feel at home and at peace with yourself. And so in this video, I'm going to share with you a very simple technique that you can use to diagnose what the energy of your space is, and then I'll share with you some tools that you can use to bring more harmony and balance to it. When a space doesn't feel right is usually because energy is stagnant in it. There's some sort of negative energy that is being present in the space, and that just like a dust bunny or a lot of dirt in a room doesn't make you feel good, except it's kind of invisible. So the first thing to do is for you to find a time where you can just really unplug, really create a time or designate a time where your TV is off, there's no music around you, maybe your phone is off so that you're not disturbed, and perhaps there's less people in your home or they're focused on other things that are keeping them busy and quiet, so that you can be really creating the first step of having that peaceful, quiet space for you to tune into the room. So that's step number one. Step number two is to begin entering the room and walk around it with a sense of mindfulness. So I often just come into a room, perhaps the center of the room to start, and close my eyes for a moment. I usually do this when I walk into a space for a client that I'm designing locally, and I most definitely use it for my home all of the time. Oftentimes, why we forget to use this tool, or why we don't even know we have access to this tool, is because we are so in our heads and in our logic that we forget the beauty of paying attention to this beautiful body of ours, right? This temple of ours. So going back to that first step is you want to walk into a room. The center of a room works, and you just want to take a couple of deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, and then just start walking around the room. You can have your eyes open and just really mindfully tune into your breath, slowly inhaling through the nose, slowly exhaling through the nose, and start getting a sense of how your body feels. Notice if there's tension in your neck and your shoulders. Notice if maybe you get a sense of just not feeling really good in your stomach and your belly. Notice if the space makes you feel restless or anxious, or maybe if it makes you feel grounded and at peace. Noticing this is something that takes a minute. You just need to be willing to pay attention to your senses. That's step number one. And step number two is, when you notice that, don't judge it. Don't judge whatever comes up. If you feel frustrated, if you feel impatient or stressed out, just acknowledge it. Oftentimes, what happens is, we just want to get out of that room, or we want to just shut the door to that closet, and we want to ignore what's in front of us because it doesn't make us feel good. But all we're doing is actually perpetuating that feeling and that stagnant energy to grow and grow, as if you're just letting dirt or dust collect longer and longer. When what we really need to do is acknowledge it, observe it, recognize it, and then take action to clean the space and to clean the energy of the space. So step number 3 is using tools to cleanse that energy of the room. So the first thing is the obvious, which is removing clutter, removing things that are making the room feel too saturated. Oftentimes when that space feels yucky in your body is because that's the space where you have stuff you've been collecting and piling over the years, and you just haven't taken care of. You haven't sorted through it, you haven't put it in its place, you haven't donated things that don't serve you, that you don't need anymore. Whatever the case might be, notice that if that sense of stressed out, frustration, or whatnot comes in place in that space, oftentimes it's related to your physical clutter and your physical stagnant energy. That's one part of it. But the other part is sometimes there's life experiences that happened in that space that make you feel heavy about it. Maybe there was an argument in that room, something like that. So again, the part you want to really tap into is notice it. And then you want to bring in some tools that you can use to clear that harmony and bring more harmony and balance into the space. One thing I like to use often is sage. And this is something that you want to do your research on. There's a lot of controversy about sage nowadays. Some people believe it's culturally inappropriate. Other people are really looking out for the environment. So they want to make sure that you are looking for fair trade and sustainable distributors of sage. Again, do your own research, take all of this with a grain of salt, but I want to just share with you why I use it and how I use it. So sage is known to be a sacred plant, and I basically use it by lighting it up. You can use a match, you can use your gas stove if you have one, or just a candle. And I start just lighting it up. You can also just use a leaf and not an entire smudge stick like this if you want to bring more awareness to conserving these resources. But essentially, you want to just close your eyes, and as you breathe, you want to walk around the room in every corner, behind the doors, every crevice, inside of closets, and it's basically removing negative and positive energy from the space. So it's kind of a more abrasive approach to cleansing your energy. I, of course, use it in beautiful either abalone shells or just beautiful bowls that are heat resistant and that can contain the ashes as you go around the space with them. Obviously, be mindful with fire, and be mindful of making sure that you are using a heat resistant container to keep it in. And then the other less abrasive option is Palo Santo. The same concept as far as do your own research, tune into what feels good for you. Some people, again, don't want to abuse nature by taking it, and it comes from trees, so it is wood. Again, you can find a lot of fair trade resources to buy it from ethical companies. I love Palo Santo because it creates a ritual for me that helps me really allow the positive energy of a space to just be magnified. So it also cleans the energy for negative feelings. So if you notice frustration or stress or just heaviness in your body, this is a good one that is a gentle way to clean the energy, clean the negativity, and just allow you to breathe deeper and bring in more joy, harmony, and balance to your room. So I just light it up, same concept, walk around the space with it, I love using it for my meditation practice if you have one, or to just take the time to create an intention for your home, for your space. Perhaps it's a new space. Perhaps you're really wanting to bring more peace in your communication if it's your bedroom. So it's a good tool to use to plant an intention of beauty, of love, and of peace for your space. Again, you use it with a heat resistant container. I love having it in beautiful bowls in my coffee tables or my kitchen altar. The third tool I want to share with you today is using sound, and this is less controversial and it's also easily accessible if you don't have these other two sacred plants. But basically you can use sound in different ways. I have these beautiful crystal triangle, and it just basically does the same, removes the negative energy from the space and brings in more joy, more balance, more harmony. So you just want to walk around the room. You want to just lightly tap on it and allow the sound to just travel through the room. If you don't have something like this available, you can also use Zen chimes like these. Walk around the space. You can also use a bell. You can use a drum. You can just clap. You can create a beautiful rhythm with your clapping, with your body, and just allow any stagnant energy to move through your room. So I hope that this short video is helpful for you in terms of bringing more sacred energy and higher vibration energy to your spaces, and to remember to feel with your body, with your senses, and to get out of our head a little bit more so that you can cultivate more of that sacred art of living, and so that you can also just bring more peace and more love into your environments and have fun with the process. Thank you. Sat Nam. If you like what I'm sharing on this channel, please subscribe, share, and like my videos with your friends and your family. Thank you.